2nd, and we'll call this meeting of the Sault Ste. Marie City Commission to order. If we could have a roll call, please.
Mayor Gary.
Here.
Commissioner Bauer.
Here.
Commissioner Bospis Rath.
Here.
Commissioner Collins. Commissioner Miller.
Here.
Commissioner Talentino. Commissioner Twardy.
Here.
Commissioner Talentino did call. He is out on a barge and unable to make the meeting tonight, so would somebody like to make a motion to excuse?
I will make that motion to excuse Commissioner Talentino.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? He is excused. So if everybody that could stand, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much, and welcome everybody. Item number 4 is mayor comments and general announcements. I have just a couple. Wanted to wish my wife a happy birthday. Sometimes we miss some of these special occasions, but she's home walking with my daughter. So, also wanted to mention that on Saturday, May 14th, there's an Abbey Rock appreciation event at the Kewadin Casino in the theater. As we all know, Abby was a Sioux High Blue Devil hockey player, first female hockey player, I think, on an all-men's team. She was a standout at University of Wisconsin Badgers, and most recently represented us in Team USA with the 2022 Winter Olympics. So there will be a presentation 6 o'clock. It's open to the public from 6 till 8. And again, Kewadin Casino at the theater. Also wanted to mention or thank everybody for the people that filed for election on November 8th. We have 5 people vying for 3 seat commissioners, so this is in alphabetical order. Ray Bauer, Steve Habusta, Scott Marble, Andrew Rubenstein, and Kathy Twardy. So thank you everybody who put their name in and is willing to serve the city of Sault Ste. Marie. Item B is proclamations and recognitions. So I'll turn it over to City Manager Chapman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and I'm going to turn it right over to Chief Bierling. Tonight we have an introduction of 2 new officers to our staff, Officer Andrew Selke and Officer Benjamin Luke.
Thank
Good
you,
evening,
City Manager.
Chief.
Good evening. Tonight, I'd like the opportunity to welcome 2 of our new police hires to you all and to the city of Sault Ste. Marie. Go ahead and stand up, Mr. Andrew Selke and Benjamin Luke.
You guys want to come sneak in next?
Sure, absolutely. These 2 gentlemen, we hired them back in March, and they went through our rigorous background employment process, and we couldn't be more excited to have them on our team. Both of them are in their field training program at our police department and are doing well, and we look forward to what they have to bring to our department and to our city. So far, we're very happy with what we see. So we anticipate they'll be in training for a couple months, and hopefully by mid-summer, they're on their own, and we'll see them. So for those who have met them already or who haven't, see them out and about, and make sure we give them a warm welcome to our city and to our police department. So that's it. If you, does the commission have any questions for them?
Any questions? They
Happy
wanna
to be here, thank you.
Welcome to the city of Sault Ste. Marie. We certainly appreciate your service and know that the city commission and administration certainly really likes our police, and we support law enforcement 100%. So thanks for serving.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, sir.
Welcome.
Thank you.
And thank you to the rest of the officers that are here to support you. So that's good to see. So we'll move the meeting along to item C, which is public comment. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to make any comments on any of the regularly scheduled items on the agenda tonight? So we do have public comment at the end of the meeting, but if you want to make any comments on any of the agenda items contained within tonight's meeting, I'll take your name. Okay, seeing none, we will move on to item D, which is the consent agenda. Deputy City Manager Robin Troyer.
Thank you, Mayor. Under the consent agenda, 1, approval of the City Commission meeting minutes of April 18th, 2022. Item 2 is approval of the City Commission meeting minutes of April 20th, 2022. Item 3 is acceptance of the Parks and Recreation Board meeting minutes of January 25th, 2022. Item 4 is acceptance of the Police Command Unit Public Employee Healthcare Board meeting minutes of April 8th, 2022. Item 5 is reappointment of Roger Blanchard to the Historic Structures Management Committee for a term to expire September 1, 2022. Item 6 is resignation of Charmaine Woods from the Parks and Rec Board effective April 26, 2022. Item 7 is schedule public hearing on single lot special assessment rules SL-21-22 and SL-1W-22. Item 8 is consideration of a grant application for Music in the Park. And item 9 is approval of the consent agenda items as presented.
Thank you, Deputy City Manager. Does anybody have any questions individually on any of the items, or would you like any of them removed for individual consideration? And I think on behalf of the commission, we'd like to thank Charmaine Wood for her service to Parks and Rec Board, and also to Roger Blanchard for service to the Historic Structures Management Committee and agreeing to serve another term. So, Commissioner Twardy.
I move that we approve the consent agenda.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Any questions or comments on any of the items? A roll call, please.
Mayor Gary,
Yes.
Commissioner Bauer,
Yes.
Commissioner Baspis Rath,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Twardy.
Yes.
Motion did pass unanimously. Thank you very much. We'll move on into E, special orders of business. City Manager Chapman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Up first for commission consideration is a request to schedule 3 public hearings related to the budget process. The commission will recall at the last commission meeting, you received the recommended budget. We went through it at a budget workshop a couple of days afterwards. There were no changes to the recommended budget, so we would be scheduling a public hearing, not approving the budget tonight. So there's 3 motions here: schedule public hearing for the tax levy, schedule public hearing for water sewer rates, and schedule public hearing for the General Appropriations Act. If you want, you can do a motion to schedule the 3 public hearings as presented, or you can read each individual motion by itself. Dealer's choice.
Does anybody have any questions or comments before we move to the motions? Commissioner Bauer, would you like to make them either 1 or 3?
Sure, I'll make all 3 simultaneously. I'd like to move that we schedule a public hearing for Monday, May 16th, 2022 at 7 p.m. on the final resolution for purposes of establishing a 2022 tax levy. Also, schedule a public hearing for Monday, May 16th, 2022 at 7 p.m. in the City Commission chambers on the adoption of water and sewer rates for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2022 and ending June 30th, 2023. And finally, scheduling a public hearing for Monday, May 16th, 2022 at 7 p.m. in the City Commission chambers on the General Appropriations Act for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2022 and ending June 30th, 2023.
Support.
It has been moved and supported. Are there any questions or comments? Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Bauer,
Yes.
Commissioner Baspis Rath,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Twardy,
Yes.
Mayor Gary.
Yes. Motion passed unanimously. Thank you very much. City Manager Chapman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Up next for commission consideration is a public hearing related to a water infrastructure grant through the MEDC, as well as approval of the resolution authorizing the grant. We do have a PowerPoint tonight that we can quick run through. Just to give you a little bit more detail on the project. Just something to point out, one of the funding mechanisms for this grant, it's a 10% required match, $200,000 we would be allocating through our ARPA funding that came through the federal government. Right now, we have about $600,000 tied up with the carbide dock. If a particular grant goes through, this would tie up another $200,000. That would leave the commission about $800,000 to be able to put towards projects that we see fit moving forward. So these are kind of the carbide dock, obviously, and then this project are both critical projects that we need to get done. There's quite a bit of work that'll come with this project, but I just want to point that out. So with the PowerPoint we'll give you a little background on the project, and then we'll hold the public hearing, call for comments, and then take it up for final consideration to approve or deny the resolution as presented. So with that, I will turn it over to Director Kirk Tews for a quick presentation.
Good evening. So we have we're going after a grant here. I do believe this is grant 19 out of, I think we're up to 22 grants now that we're trying to get our piece of the pie to solve some of the problems that we have here in town. This problem here presented itself to me last June during flushing of water mains. And so we're trying to get a piece of pie to solve the Riverside Drive issue that we're having. And we're having upcoming construction with Cloverland Electric for a section of the power canal between Bingham and Ashman. And so the Court Street crossing is there, so we're trying to solve some issues with that there. So the grant details: on behalf of the Michigan Strategic Fund, the Michigan Economic Development Corporation is accepting applications for new projects under the state of Michigan's Community Development Block Grant, CDBG 2022 Water-Related Infrastructure Program. We also have a CDBG grant that's part of the placemaking project. This is the water side, that's the road side. The WRA program is designed to assist units in general local governments in making necessary improvements to their existing public infrastructure systems, in this case, water mains. Part one of the proposal will be nearly 2 miles of Riverside Drive. We've had numerous customer complaints. We have low flow and lack of pressure, and that's caused by heavy tuberculation, which is the closing off of a water main over years. This was initially installed in 1958-59, and so at this time we have zero firefighting capabilities down there. We also have the lack of ability for a Riverside trailer park expansion that the tribe is currently working on Gardenville Road. I don't think that's gonna play. Oh yeah, it is gonna play. Maybe. Well, darn, video won't play. Anyhow, this is a video that we took last year, Flushing, June 3rd of 2021.
It's on the laptop if you want to.
It's on the laptop. Sure. Whatever. Yeah.
She wasn't looking for Mike this time.
No, huh? So this is us flushing the water main down there on Riverside Drive, and as you can see, there's not much flow there. If you've ever seen our guys flushing fire hydrants, usually the water's flying through the air. This barely registered on the gauge. It had 5 pounds of pressure and 320 gallons per minute, which is very dismal at best.
And Kirk, would that flow help us fight a fire? Should there be a reason to be on that?
No, you would not be able to fight a fire with that flow. At this point in time, those hydrants have been out of service. We do have a standing agreement with Sioux Township to provide tanker trucks, mutual aid for us if there ever were a fire along Riverside Drive. So part two of this project is the Court Street Canal crossing, which was put in place in 1901. It's a 16-inch water main. It's one of the main feeds. We have 5 other feeds, but this is the largest at 16 inches. Part of the reason that we chose this is it's difficult to repair due to location, and it could also impede power canal operations. We met with Cloverland over this. If we were to repair this and had to shut the canal down, it runs about $1 million a month. Plus, we have to pay for the loss in electricity. So what we looked at was a process called CIPP, which is cure in place pipe lining. Process is to basically set up temporary water. We set up excavation points at all the wells and hydrants. We clean the water main with high-pressure jetters. Loosened materials are sucked out. Water mains inspected by a camera. And then they place a robot in there to mark off the water services, actually plug the water services from the inside. They pull the flexible epoxy liner in there. It's inflated, allowed to cure. When the liner is cured, they go back in with the robot, drill out where those services are at. The water main's reconnected, flushed, disinfected, and placed back into service. It's minimally invasive. The only places that you have for disruption are basically the excavation pits where the wells and hydrants are at. This is a picture of the inside of the pipe after the CIPP liner is in there. CIPP is relatively new, but it's been around since the early 2000s. It's NSF 61 approved for water. And some of the areas that they've used it in are listed here. Michigan, Detroit, and water, some large cities, Flint's even tried it. What put me on board is when I first came here in June of 2020, Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario was actually finishing up miles of water main on this project, the same company that we've been talking to. Here's all the services on Riverside Drive. Beginning of the project will start at the junction with Riverside Cemetery and work its way north along the path. So these are all the residents that are affected by this project. The terminus of the project will be just before the Country Club maintenance driveway, where they left off with a 12-inch ductile iron main that was put in place in 2008. This is a project of the Riverside proposed Sioux Tribe Village. Like I say, this project is going to be stalled if we don't do anything down there because there are no fire ratings, and without fire ratings you cannot build any structures. So this is something that we've been in talks with the Sioux Tribe on to try to remedy. Here's a quick overview of the Power Canal project where it crosses at Court Street. The tight areas on each side make this a perfect project for the CIPP due to its minimally invasive techniques. So in summary, our project total is $2 million, and we're asking for $1.8 million with a $200,000 ARPA fund grant. The MEDA grant on Nordwotus will be June 17th of 2020. If awarded, we will put the project out for bid in July of 2022 and will end in October of 2022. If not awarded, we're looking for additional partnership opportunities with the Sioux Tribe, and of course, we're still trying to get our piece of the pie through state revolving funds. CIPP is cost effective. Life expectancy would be an additional 50 years, less excavation and service disruptions. On Riverside Drive, without the CIPP, lines will remain corroded. The health and safety issues will continue along with lack of firefighting capabilities. The Court Street Canal crossing provides 60% of water to the Island District. If it were to break, the hospital, fire department, other critical services, including governments, would be greatly affected. It's also critical for Cloverland's operations, and shut down would cost $1 million a month. Any questions?
Anybody have any questions?
So Kirk, just real quick, so the CIPP is a relatively newer treatment, but it's used in replacement of tearing the whole thing out and replacing the lines, right?
Correct. So instead of complete excavation, open trenches, and relaying the main, this is short sections, 500 feet at a time, basically, to stabilize that main, refurbish the main, and so it can carry on its life for another 50 plus years.
And there's a cost difference between the two, right?
Correct.
What's that, real quick? David?
Yeah.
So if we were to replace that main, and that's why I wanted to point out, if we were to replace the main under traditional means, it would probably double that price. So this is a relatively newer thing, but it should assist us in keeping the original infrastructure in the ground, but keeping it for another 50 years or so.
Correct.
Commissioner Torti?
You had answered most of my questions in that very thorough presentation, so thank you for that. But if we don't get the grant and you are able to secure funding from another source, maybe partnering with Sioux Tribe or another source. Are you still hoping to complete the project this year then?
Yes, if we secure the funding, we'll try to get it. The company that does this does have availability this summer to complete the project.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Miller?
There's only one company that does this, or would this go out for bids?
It'll go out for bids. There are a few companies, I think there are 4 to 5. There's one locally in our area. There's another company that's within the Midwest. But when your costs start to, mobilization costs are huge. So chances are I'll end up with a company that we've been talking to. But it will go out for bid.
Thank you.
Anybody else have any questions? All right, thank you very much, Kirk. At this time, we'll hold the public hearing to allow for public comment regarding the WRI grant application of a community development block grant through the Michigan Economic Development Corporation. So again, public hearing on the CDBG grant through MEDC. Anybody have any questions or comments for us? Again, it's public hearing for CDBG grant through MEDC. So seeing no questions, we will close the public hearing. Any further questions or comments from the commission? Commissioner Bosbus Rath, would you like to do motion 2?
Certainly. Motion to approve the resolution as presented.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Any questions or comments? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion did pass unanimously. Thank you very much. Moving on into E, special orders of business, number 3. City Manager Chapman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Up next for commission considerations, request to schedule a second reading for 2 different ordinance updates, all under kind of the same umbrella here. So what we are recommending, the city has a current property maintenance code that we administer through the code enforcement and community development, but it's outdated. I believe the last time it was updated was about 2000, it looks like. What we are recommend doing is shifting from the current property maintenance code, which has had a lot of kind of reiterations to it internally, to a international property maintenance code through the ICC, which is the International Code Council. So the International Code Council is this body that studies and publishes recommended codes, building codes, property maintenance codes, historical rehabilitation codes, a whole slew of things. And we're recommending moving towards this model because it aligns more with our building codes that we currently administer. So right now, the way the system's set up, you could come into the city, build a brand new building under the building code regulations. The very day that you get your certificate of occupancy, we could technically find you in violation under the property maintenance code because it's just that much farther behind. So what we're doing is this is going to bring us in line up here. It's a more, like I said, it's a more refined set of codes that have been through the ringer in terms of analysis, legalities, case law, all that stuff. So the 2 motions before you tonight is to motion, they're both to schedule the second reading, but first one is to schedule the second reading to repeal the current property maintenance code, and the second one is to have a second reading of the new code through the International Property Maintenance Code.
Thank you, City Manager. Any questions or comments for the City Manager? Commissioner Miller.
Under the recommended action, it says motion, they say first readings, they don't say second readings. What's the difference? They both say first readings, right?
So the motion is to approve the first reading tonight and to schedule second reading for the next meeting.
Okay.
So tonight would be your first reading, the second one would, or the next meeting would be your second one, at which you would take up final consideration.
Thanks.
Commissioner Bosbus Rath.
I just want to make sure, so the buildings now, will they be affected by the new code, or like how does that work? Like if the codes are already in place right now?
So
Right.
moving forward, once we adopt this code, let's say we adopt it May 16th, May 17th, any building issues would follow under the new code. So we wouldn't be administering any kind of grandfathered program or anything like that.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else have any questions or comments? Commissioner Miller, would you like to make the motions?
Sure, Your Honor. Motion to approve the first reading of an ordinance to repeal the 2000 Property Maintenance Code and schedule a second reading for the May 16th, 2022 City Commission meeting.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Any questions or comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passed. Commissioner Miller.
Thank you, Your Honor. Motion to approve the first reading of an ordinance adopting the 2021 International Property Maintenance Code and success documents as revised and schedule second reading for the May 16th, 2022 City Commission meeting.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Any questions or comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passed unanimously. Thank you very much. Item E, special orders of business, number 4, City Manager Chapman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Up next for commission consideration is a second public hearing related to the Principal Shopping District and final consideration. This particular request is to renew the Principal Shopping District assessment for a 5-year term beginning in 2022 and ending in 2026. The PSD assessment, the PSD assessment goes towards funding the Downtown Development Authority with a variety of services, marketing, what's in here? Marketing, promotions, and some other activities. Tony Cutler, DDA Director, is here to answer any kind of questions the commission may have, but we would look for a public hearing to happen to receive comments, and then the commission take it up for final consideration.
Thank you, City Manager. So this time we will have a public hearing on the renewal of the Principal Shopping District with a 5-year term beginning in 2022 and ending in 2026. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to make any comments or questions at this time? I know, Sue-Ann, you had some questions last time. DDA Director's here. Okay. All right. Would you like to come up for the public hearing at all, or we'll get you in the record twice. So if you could state your name and residence, not street address, just city.
Sue-Ann Wilkes. I'm a resident of Sault Ste. Marie. And we talked about a few different things last time, but the biggest thing with the Principal Shopping District is by statute, we're supposed to account for how this is going to be spent on the assessed, for the assessed property owners. And I don't think there's any accounting for where it's going to be spent. So I think it should be. The DDA, it's not a reflection on poor spending of the DDA, but currently the DDA is spending, seems like the bulk of its funds on our parking garage that doesn't necessarily serve the downtown and the city building, the city hall building. So I think there's money in the DDA currently, and we should have an accounting of where this is going to be spent as the statute requires. That's it.
Thank you very much for your comments. Anybody else in the audience that would like to make any comments at this time? Sure, I was going to call you up after the public hearing, but that's fine.
If you were ready.
Sure. So at this time, we'll close the public hearing and move to have DDA Director Tony Cutler maybe answer a question if you could, or any comments that you have.
Well, I'll wait for questions if you want to ask me questions first, but I do just have a couple comments about the PSD, if you'd like. So first of all, I'm I think it's unfortunate that we are in a position to have a PSD, to be very blunt, but we are in a position where the financial capacity of the DDA is somewhat limited. To answer, I think, Sue Ellen's question, hopefully it is in the budget, the way that the money is allocated. And I think it's probably not quite as open and transparent, meaning it doesn't say direct, this money goes direct to that, as there are a lot of different activities of the DDA, including the salary of the director and the benefits and all those kind of things and the way we allocate it. We'd come to the city, of course, for an allocation of about $58,000 to help operate that. What my goal is to eventually eliminate the PSD altogether as the debt of the DDA is retired. That is something that is slated to be within the next 4 years for the bulk of it, which does go to support the parking structure and the service for that. I think once that's eliminated, those funds will be able to be used to support the operations of the DDA. And then, of course, we have the next about 9 years of the money that's contributed towards the renovation projects here at City Hall. So I think realistically, when that debt is gone, should I still be the director at the time or whomever is, and whoever is on the board at the time, would be that we would hopefully make a better plan for our TIF capture as to how that money is allocated. Of course, our TIF plan is up for renewal in 4 years as well. And all of those elements will have to come together to come up with a long-term plan for the DDA. So just kind of to recap, hopefully that once this debt is retired, as Sue Ellen has pointed out, or Sue Ann, I'm sorry, Sue Ann has pointed out, jeez. Sorry. Seinfeld moment there. As that money is freed up as we look at our TIF plan and our DDA capture, we should be I would hope, be in a sufficient cash position to not ask our downtown businesses to bear an additional cost, which this is about $32,000 extra. That's necessary now for the operations. Another component of that, just to answer your question, is part of the DDA component in being a part of the Main Street is a major fundraising component. And having had a transition between directors, a lot of that was missed for a period of time, and it does have an impact there. As we work to develop a new fundraising platform and a schedule and the way we conduct events, that should bring in enough revenue as well too. Part of the model of the Michigan Main Street is to have buy-in from our members of that principal shopping district and through donations, and not through ideally through being forced through a tax, but more that they actively participate. I will say that we are moving in the right direction. We have a number of sponsors that have stepped forward this year, a lot of outreach that I've been in contact with, and some programs to bring in that money to do these things. So I do think that I'm asking for your approval of this going forward, knowing that I'm not somebody who likes to see the tax as well, and I hope that we can get to a point where when the debt is retired, we will all agree to eliminate that and make sure we operate within our confines of what the TIF generates.
Thanks, Director Cutler. Does anybody have any questions? Commissioner Tforti?
Thank you. But in the meantime, if we approve this tonight over the next 4 years, just like Sue Ann said, is there a plan? I mean, are we not doing what state statute says that we're supposed to be doing, and we don't have a specific plan for the spending of this $30,000?
Sure.
At least a correct spending of the $30,000.
The principal shopping district state statute authorizes certain expenditures with the assessment, big public projects, and then promotions and marketing as well. So a lot of this would be going towards marketing and promotions, which is an authorized expenditure under the shopping district.
So the business owners are paying for the parking garage. Hey, nice to know. I got a little piece of the pie. You do too, right? I'm teasing.
No. The PSD, oh, okay.
The PSD money does not go towards the parking structure, that is correct. The money that does pay the long-term debt is taken directly out of the
From the
TIF.
TIF.
TIF 1 and TIF
Yeah.
2, and that is very, very rigidly accounted for. I guess in terms of our PSD, where I say there's some moments where we have to account for it, it is recognized, I think, in our budget of how we allocate it. And I will say that the budget that I have put together was a very tight budget this time around. And will be presenting to my board, plus with the commissioner recommendations and manager recommendations, are just really the facts that we don't have systematic fundraising in place to pay for some of these things. And that's where, like I said, that offset's gonna happen. If we had a solid base of fundraising, that need for the PSD goes down, because our expenses ultimately would get covered through the fundraising efforts.
Okay. Okay, so if this does get approved tonight, which I can't see that it won't, then you'll put that budget together, is what you're saying?
The budget is together. I mean, we can dissect it a little bit more, but the budget itself, in terms of where we plan to spend the money, I guess I should be a little more clear. The commission, our board has met to do our goal setting.
Mm-hmm.
And we have not set into stone what all of our events are just yet.
Okay,
We have a general outline of what our promotions and expenditures will be, kind of based historically. But again, that's still in the process of being that, which, like as I had stated to the administrator, that we would probably use some budget amendments as we come up with our planning and long-term effects.
and
for that.
as more donations come in, it can adjust it.
Correct, and I'll just give you an example that we happened to have a donor come out of the woodwork yesterday. That person who was in a new position with a significant company in Michigan that called me and said, "We got to give you some money." And I said, "I will take it." And I've sent them a proposal. I won't say the name just yet because we don't have it, but I will tell you it's about $5,000 that we never knew was out there. And so that provided we meet some of their parameters, should be something we get. And those are kind of those opportunities, I think, that are becoming more prevalent with the plan in place to do more active fundraising.
Great, thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Commissioner Bauer.
Yeah, just a couple of comments real quick, that the city manager, of course, is correct in stating that marketing and promotions are approved uses for this money. Also that, and you know the budget processes as well as anybody, and you sat on the DDA board years ago. So, you know, and all of that is very transparent and open to the public. And anytime, you know, if you would like to see, like last year's, actually, you can see the budget from the DDA, you know, 8 years ago, 10 years ago. It's all a matter of public record. I will say this, and it's shocking to me that Tony Cutler, as the head of the DDA, is standing here today talking about putting an end to the PSD, because I've never known anybody in government to ever say that we're gonna get by with less money in the future, and we're gonna do away with this tax. This is amazing.
Well, and Commissioner, just remember, that does have to do with, by then that other debt should retire, so we'll actually have more money.
You do realize, though, that in a few years from now, we're gonna hold you to that.
I hope so,
You
yeah.
know, not that we're necessarily gonna put your feet to the fire if it doesn't happen, but
Yeah.
that we're gonna wonder, hey, Tony, I thought, 3 years ago you stood here and said that you were gonna try to do with the PSD.
Bonnie, this isn't being
I was-
recorded, is it?
I was shocked.
Oh, no, she said it is.
And yeah, this is gonna pass tonight, and the DDA does need money for marketing and such. I mean, where else are they gonna get it at this point, right? There's, in fact, so used to using that money for this. I think that the Music in the Park is really the only event that we've got that's like a really solid, in the black year after year
Yeah.
event.
Yes.
So, you know, if you want, I can make the motion that we, let's see here. The motion is that we approve the renewal of the principal shopping district with a 5-year term beginning in 2022 and ending in 2026.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Any further questions or comments? Appreciate your comments, Commissioner Bauer. I think it was important to point out that we are in compliance, and Director Cutler did say that one of his goals is to make them more transparent so that people can see where the funds are going. And certainly it takes some innovation, I think, to make changes and move forward. And I think some of the things that we see and hear right now are going in the right direction. And we look forward to hearing of the success of the DDA and maybe the elimination of the PSD, although that's a pretty bold statement.
That is bold.
But,
That's my commitment.
yeah. So it's been moved and supported. Let's do a roll call vote on this one, please. Whoop, I'm sorry, Commissioner Miller.
Thank you, Your Honor. Did he answer your questions? Did Mr. Cutler answer your questions adequately?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Baspas Rath,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller,
No.
Commissioner Twardy,
Yes.
Mayor Gary,
Yes,
Commissioner Bauer.
Yes.
motion did pass. Thank you very much. Moving on, item F is communications. We have none this evening, so we'll move on to G, business items. City Manager Chapman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Up first for commission consideration is a request to terminate a lease agreement between the city and city EDC. Currently, there's an agreement between the city and the EDC regarding the Technology and Breeder Building on Meridian Avenue. At this time, we feel that it could be better served if it was with a different group or a set of partners to kind of redevelop the Breeder Building and take it into a different direction. This particular item has two motions in front of you. Motion to terminate the attached lease and motion to designate the city manager or his designee as staff liaison to the LDFA board.
Thank you, City Manager. Any questions or comments from the City Commission? Commissioner Twardy, would you like to make this motion?
Sure. I'll make a motion to terminate the attached lease agreement with the Sault Ste. Marie Economic Development Corporation for the management of the Breeder Building.
Support.
Been moved and supported. Any questions or comments? Let's do a roll call, please.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Twardy,
Yes.
Mayor Gary,
Yes,
Commissioner Bauer,
Yes.
Commissioner Baspas Rath.
Yes.
Commissioner, motion passed unanimously. Commissioner Twardy, the second motion.
Motion to designate the city manager or his designee as the staff liaison to the LDFA board.
Support.
Been moved and supported. Any questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Twardy,
Yes.
Mayor Gary,
Yes,
Commissioner Bauer,
Yes.
Commissioner Baspas Rath,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller.
Yes.
motion did pass unanimously. Thank you very much. G, business items number 2, City Manager Chapman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Up next for consideration is a request to purchase a new to us 2021 Ram 3500 with a V plow from O'Connor's in Pickford. Long story short on this one, the city did have funds budgeted in this current fiscal year. We bid it out once. They came back. No, we bid it out once, and they couldn't fulfill the order, so we rebid it again, and it came back probably about $25,000 over budget. So, not wanting to spend that kind of money on a new truck. Director Masterson did a little digging around. We found an acceptable used truck with what we were looking for at O'Connor's in Pickford. The truck itself is about $800 over budget. So there's two motions tonight. Motion to approve a budget amendment to add $800 to the purchase and return a bunch of already budgeted money back to the capital reserves. And then a motion to approve the purchase of 2021. Just a couple of notes. The amount that we're returning to the capital reserves are a series of equipment purchases that the city budgeted for a few years ago in Mr. Masterson's analysis. They're not pieces of equipment that we need at this time. They're not critical components by any means. I think one was a sump pump and the other one was a. Yeah, you said radar, but that can't be right. You mean meter, right? Yeah. Meter. Flowdar. That's it, Flowdar, not radar. That's the cop stuff. So meter. So it was a sump pump and a Flowdar meter that we're returning. So they're not critical components that we're shorting ourselves on. I'm not going to come back to the next budget and be like, oh, we got to replace this. So the last note on the truck is, unfortunately, it won't be the city blue. So if you want to have Mr. Masterson come up here and take the wrath. We really, really want to try to keep consistency with our colors in our vehicles, but unfortunately, in this particular case, we cannot. So we do look for two motions to amend the budget and return money to the capital reserves, and a motion to approve the purchase.
Thank you, City Manager. Any questions or comments for him? Commissioner Twardy?
What color is it? It is white, ma'am. Okay, well, blue and white, white and blue. Maybe we could get a blue logo. That might look good. And then just to reiterate that the funding for this came from the sewer capital reserves and not from the general fund. I always think that those are great to point out. And also that we did work with a local dealership, so we, as the commission, we also like to see that as well.
Thanks,
Correct.
Commissioner. Commissioner Bosbus Rath had a question. Sorry.
Well, I was just gonna reiterate what Commissioner Twardy said about the local business. That's great to see, so that's it.
Thanks, Commissioner. Commissioner Bauer?
As far as the color, just look at us as being more diverse as far as our fleet.
Green, blue, and white now.
Now, this one will take care of the rust color one, so. Yeah.
Any other questions or comments? Commissioner Bosbus Rath, would you like to make there were two motions.
Absolutely. Motion to approve the budget amendment to add $800 for the purchase of a truck and return the remaining budget balance of $12,800 to sewer capital reserves.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Any questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Mayor Gary,
Yes.
Commissioner Bauer,
Yes.
Commissioner Bosbus Rath,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Twardy.
Yes.
Motion passed unanimously. Commissioner Bosbus Rath, motion two.
And the second motion to approve the purchase of a used 2021 Ram 3500 with a V-plow from O'Connor Chrysler Dodge Jeep Incorporated in Pickford, Michigan at the cost of $45,000.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Any questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Bauer,
Yes.
Commissioner Bosbus Rath,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Twardy,
Yes.
Mayor Gary.
Yes. Motion passed unanimously. Thank you very much. Under just G, business items, number 3, City Manager Chapman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Up next for commission considerations, a request to execute Michigan Department of Transportation Grant Contract 22-5092 for the Power Canal Shared Use Path Phase 2. So, in short, this is the contract with MDOT that authorizes and obligates the funding for this project. The project's currently out to bid right now. Once those bids come back, we'll execute them. Staff will start coordinating with the contractor of choice on a timeline. At this point, we're just saying that it'll be done by the end of the summer. So there's a good chance that it could go to another contractor that we have already working something, so it could be worked in with a different project. But at this time, we don't have a definitive timeline, but it'll be done by the end of the summer. So we look for a motion to authorize the attached grant contract as presented.
Any questions or comments for the city manager? Commissioner Miller, would you like to make that motion?
Sure, thank you, Your Honor. Motion to authorize the city manager to execute the Michigan Department of Transportation Grant Contract number 22-5092 for the Power Canal Shared Use Path Phase 2.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Any questions or comments? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passed unanimously. Thank you very much. Moving on to G, business items number 4.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Up next for commission consideration is a request to apply for a grant through the MARAD for the Easter Day project, which is that secondary component to the carbide dock. So we've put in all the applications we can for the carbide dock. We're shifting our focus to be the Easter Day segment. This is a $3.3 million grant with a match that'll come from some of the funds that we've already received. So there's some details about the project in there. As the commission is aware, that project came over budget as well during the last time we bid it out. This will hopefully bridge some of that funding gap. Just in general speaking, the carbide dock and the Easter Day grant will continue to put in grants. We are rebidding that project near mid to the end of summer. It'll be out for a couple months, and then we'll open up those bids after that to see where we're at. So this is another grant request coming in for the Easter Day project for the carbide dock project.
Thank you, City Manager. Any questions for him on this particular item? We're becoming experts on grant applications, sounds like. Commissioner Twardy, would you like to make that motion?
Sure. Motion to approve the Port Infrastructure Development Program Grant, PIDP, resolution submittal, and to allow the authorizing official, Robin Troyer, Deputy City Manager, to sign.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Any questions or comments on that item? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion also passed unanimously. Moving on to G, business items number 5. City Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Up next for commission consideration is a request to sell a currently owned city lot up by the Breeder Building off of Meridian Avenue, specifically Lot 11, to ACC Automated Comfort Controls in the amount of $45,000. This request came to us from the owner of ACC, which is based out of Appleton, Wisconsin. They currently relocated a portion of their operations up into the Sioux. They tested out the market a little bit, and it seems to be doing well for them, so now they're looking up to set up a brick and mortar facility for their staff. So currently they have 5 employees within the area. They're hoping to get up to 7, maybe expand a little bit more. But this is a type of business that fits well within that lot. They do a lot of technology-based heating and air conditioning control units. The zoning all lines up, so everything seems good on this one. So we would look for a motion to approve the sale to ACC in the amount of $45,000.
Any questions on the lot sale for the City Manager, Commissioner Twardy?
More just a comment. Great to see.
Yeah.
We have a lot of land, and we have a lot of land for sale, and it's great to see a piece of it going. So, good job.
Thank you. And that's Community Development Freeman. He's the one that led this one and brought this to us, so kudos to him.
Any other comments? Good comments, Commissioner Twardy. I'd certainly echo that. I know the parcels that we have been for sale for quite some time, and hopefully this one will spur some development up in that area. Certainly, we just talked about the TIFs and the need to grow the value and the money that will come to the city for growth of the TIF area. So hopefully it's a good first step. Commissioner Bauer, would you like to make that motion?
I would, thank you. I motion to approve the included resolution to sell property known as the Airport Industrial Park Lot 11 to Automated Comfort Controls for the amount of $45,000 and authorize the mayor and city clerk to sign any and all documents necessary to complete that sale.
Support.
It has been moved and supported. Any questions or comments? A roll call, please.
Commissioner Baspis Rath,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Twardy,
Yes.
Mayor Gary,
Yes.
Commissioner Bauer.
Yes.
Motion passed unanimously. Thank you. Under G, business items, number 6, City Manager Chapman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Up next for commission consideration is a request to enter into an agreement with J.J. Keller and Associates for a safety program. As the commission was made aware during the budget time, we don't really have a sound safety program through any part of our organization. We're lacking in areas of OSHA, MIOSHA, DOT, transportation training. What this contract will do is provide us with a consultant through J.J. Keller to come up to the city, do site visits, review existing older documents or programs, and then help us put together from the ground up a new program that we can manage moving forward. If we were to try to recreate this wheel from the ground up, we would be spending a lot of time and probably take us a few years to get it done. So we do have kind of some, our burning platform for this one is that we have been dinged already by MIOSHA. I think we told you during the budget time that we got a citation of about $1,500 for some safety deficiencies. So we want to kind of stay away from that. So we have two motions for you. A motion to suspend the committed bid process and select J.J. Keller as a single source provider, and a motion to enter into consulting agreement, workplace safety compliance and program management integrated program with J.J. Keller.
Any questions for the city manager? Commissioner Bastos-Rath.
Just a quick one. Is this a one-time thing that it'll be?
So this is it's a bigger one-time thing. So we have some money in the budget for this fiscal year. We put more money in the budget for next fiscal year. We'll start this project in the current fiscal year. They'll bill us monthly, and then, I don't know, let's say about 8 to 9 months is probably the total project. And once they're done, then we take it back over and then we manage it. So it's kind of a one and done thing, but it's gonna be about 9 months or so to get it finished.
Okay, thank you.
Good question. Commissioner Miller?
Thank you, Your Honor. Should come as no surprise to the commission that I don't like these no bid contracts. I think we do way too many of them. But it says that J.J. Keller and Associates is a single source provider. Where? Anywhere? They're the only ones that do it anywhere. We can't put it out for a bid to anybody in the country.
No. It's not, the single source provider is not saying they're the only people in the country that do that. Single source provider is kind of like a title. So there are companies that we designate as a single source provider because that's the product that we want. That's what we're going after. So Director Tews, through his various other organizations that he's worked for, safety has always been kind of within his wheel well. He's been through process before, looked at different consultants. J.J. Keller is one that he's worked with, he's comfortable with. He's discussed with me other options in there, and we feel J.J. Keller will be able to get us to where we need to be quicker. They're more of they are one of the state leaders in terms of safety programs, but the term single source provider is just designating them our single source provider.
Thanks for the clarification.
Yep.
Good question. Anybody have any other questions? Certainly support this. This is, I think you really see it when you take the tours of the facilities, and then when you see the workforce out when they have a water main break or something in the middle of the night. It's difficult for them out there working, but to have, I think, all the training and all the resources together to make sure that all of our city employees are safe, and then also to make sure the community is safe along with the employees, certainly is well worth the investment going forward. So anybody would like to make this motion that has, or the two motions? Commissioner Bastos-Rath?
Thank you. Motion to suspend the competitive bid process as J.J. Keller and Associates is a single source provider.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Any questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Miller,
No.
Commissioner Twardy,
Yes.
Mayor Gary,
Yes.
Commissioner Bauer,
Yes.
Commissioner Bastos-Rath.
Yes.
Motion did pass with one no vote. Commissioner Bastos-Rath.
Thank you. Motion to enter into a consulting service agreement, workplace safety compliance and program management integrated program with J.J. Keller.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Any questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Twardy,
Yes.
Mayor Gary,
Yes.
Commissioner Bauer,
Yes.
Commissioner Bospiss Rath,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller.
No.
Thank you very much. Motion did pass with one no vote. Moving on into H, city manager announcements and updates. City Manager Chapman.
All right, got a
Ooh,
few.
that list grew. That list grew over the weekend.
Sorry. I reserve the authority to add to as I remember things that come up. So, a few things for you all tonight. First and foremost, we did get a resignation from Commissioner Collins. He no longer lives in the city, so he has to resign. So filling that, we will accept the formal resignation at the next commission meeting. At that time, we will be looking for some direction from the commission. You have two options per the city charter. You can either appoint a person to fill the remainder of his term. You have 30 days to make that decision. If that clock runs out or you decide to go down this path, you can refer it to be filled during the special election. So how that process works, if the commission so chooses to, if you want to defer it to a special election, that special election would be held during the November election. The filing deadlines for the August election has already passed. So to be on the ballot for the November election, the filing deadline would be July 26th. So that would give, a couple months for interested people to fill out their nomination petitions and get them back to City Hall. So just, again, two options here. Regarding the Commissioner Collins, you can either appoint somebody within 30 days of accepting that, and we'll accept it at the next meeting, or you can defer it to a special election that will be held in November with a filing deadline by July 26th. So just if you have questions, just you guys can ask them at the end. The Polar Hood bids did come back last Thursday or last Friday. I think I sent a text to the commission. Those bids came back at about $150,000. I think I owe Commissioner Bauer something because I think he bet me that it would come higher than that. So we are pivoting to a certain extent. Tyler, Director Twos, and myself had done a little bit of research. There are electric hoodless options that we can start to look at. There's electric griddles that you'd see like a hibachi kitchen or something like that that don't require a hood. And then they have electric deep fryers that fry your French fries and stuff like that. So we are looking to that as maybe an alternative if that would suffice down there. The current budget for that project right now is about $90,000. I don't know the costs of the two pieces of equipment that we would need down there, the grill and the fryers. There's probably some smaller electrical work that'll have to be done to be able to do it too, but we'll bring those kind of options to the commission when we get everything wrapped up there. So we are looking at some different options. Citywide cleanup, just as a reminder, is May 14th. The commission has breakfast at 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning. 7-ish. And then there's cleanup afterwards, 7-ish, heavy on the ish. A reminder that leaf pickup is going to be starting up here next week. We're going to be working through the city on the east to west basis. So a lot of people start to put their leaves and some of the yard debris out on the roads already. So we will be around to start picking that up next week. I would say try to get that out in front of your yard as soon as possible, because more than likely once we go by, we'll go by. So just a reminder also, hydrant flushing starts this week. So any resident that may experience some discolored, some brown or red water, just kind of run your cold water for a little bit. That's just iron sediment within the pipes being flushed out. Mission Street boat launch will be closed for a little bit this summer. There's some issues with the boat ramp itself we need to address. So that one will be closed, but the other ones will still be open. A few projects that will be starting this summer, to give you some tentative start dates here. The 3 Mile project up by Walmart will be starting June 6th. Portage Avenue Phase 1, which will be the west side heading into downtown, will be August 15th. And then Portage Avenue Phase 2, which would be more of that downtown location, would be starting around September 16th. And these projects would be wrapping up about mid-October. So, other than that, I will be out of the office on May 27th for Memorial Day weekend, and I believe we're closed that Monday, so that's all I have.
Thank you, City Manager. Anybody have any questions on any of those items? Commissioner Twardy?
So talking about the leaf pickup, when will DPW be open for yard debris drop-off and, or are we still doing mulch pickup down there? Do you have dates for those?
You got something?
The 24-hour pickup or drop-off is open 24/7. That's out in front of DPW, but
Okay.
the compost or the back area is still too wet.
Okay.
So we're waiting for it to dry up before we put that out to the Facebook on dates that it's opening.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Commissioner Miller?
I suppose we'll talk about this when all the bids are done and everything, but the Puller Hood fan, if we decide to go with it in a different direction, like the equipment that you're talking about, what would the Sioux Eagles do with the equipment they've already purchased? I don't think they can send that stuff back.
I'm not sure.
I know the $150,000 is terrible. So
Yeah,
if you
and
can do
I-
anything to save money, I do understand that. I think that budget started at 30,000, and then now you got bids for 150.
I think
But I do
that's-
know the
yeah.
Sioux Eagles did put quite a bit of money into that Hood fan. I think
I think that, yeah, I think the hood itself was about $7,000. And if they can take it back and get some money for it, they have that option, but I guess I would kind of, I don't know. I don't have an answer for you at this time.
Well, I'd hate to see somebody, us or them, eat 7,000, but if there's a different option and we're not spending 150,000 to fix it, I think we'll be okay, right?
I don't think there is, though. I mean, I just don't think there's another option at this point, to tell you the truth. In terms of using that same hood.
No. I meant the options that you were talking
Yeah,
about.
yeah.
I
okay,
mean, if it was to save a considerable amount of money, somebody's gonna eat $7,000, I mean.
Yeah.
I think you talked about trading it in too as well, haven't you?
Yeah, but
Possibly for a
if we
equipment
go with this
company. Yeah.
option, this would be completely different companies. We won't get credits for it, but
Any other questions for City Manager? I just want to make a couple comments. Certainly we thank Commissioner Collins for the service that he did give to the city. And we're not acting on it tonight as we just received the written resignation today. So that was after the publication of tonight's agenda. So we didn't have any time to prepare for that. So at the next meeting, be prepared to discuss what your thoughts are as far as replacement. It's a 2-year and some months term. Whoever if we chose to appoint. We do have 5 people that are running for office, 3 open positions that will be on the ballot in November. And if we chose to go to a special election, that would be in November, but none of them or none of you would be eligible to run for the 2-year term special election. So brings up a little bit different set of circumstances. Timing is very unfortunate in this situation, but we'll certainly talk about it and work through those issues at our next meeting. So thank you very much, City Manager, for your report that grew. Commissioner Miller.
Can I just ask you a quick question?
Sure.
So we're going to talk about it at the next meeting, I
Correct.
understand. But if we decide to appoint someone, not just the 5 people who are on the ballot this election cycle, but other people could show interest?
Yeah,
Put an
certainly we
application in,
can, whatever the commission, 4 votes of the commission decides to do at the next meeting.
Right. But if it
We
comes down
certainly
to an
can entertain
appointment
that.
process, it's not going to be just those 5 people.
No.
Okay. I just want to make that clear.
No,
Thanks.
all options are open, so, yep. All right, so moving on into item I, which is matters presented by the public. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to make any comments at this time? If you could please state your name and residence.
Sure.
For the record, please.
Good evening. My name is William Hindle. I'm from the county of Charlevoix in Marion Township there. I'm running for the Senate seat in the 37th district here. And a little bit about myself. I was born and raised in the Detroit area. Lived in Charlevoix now about 17 years. And I own a small business. I have I'm a licensed builder, and I do home inspections. Been doing that for about 25 years. And been married for 33 years to my wife over there in the green. And have 5 children that we raised and we homeschooled. And our oldest actually graduated Hillsdale College. And we also have 3 grandchildren. My platform, the first thing on that is the election integrity. I'd like to restore that. The election process is broken and needs to be addressed and fixed so that we can have a safe and secure election in the future for the security of our nation, for one thing, and also that so that everybody votes will count. Second part of my platform is medical freedom. We had to endure unconstitutional lockdowns and mandates. My belief is that if you want to, get vaccinated or wear a mask, it should be your personal choice between you and your healthcare provider. It shouldn't be forced on anybody to have to do that. Thirdly, is the schools system. We have a lot of great teachers in that, but the system they're using right now is not. It's not working very well. So there's a lot of issues to be addressed there. And I have some plans to address that. We need to get rid of the CRT and the social, emotional learning, whatever they call it these days. Need to get back to actually teaching academics, and even introduce, teaching the kids the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, and to learn out the foundation of our country and where we came from as a nation. I'm also pro-life, 100% pro-life, and pro-Second Amendment. I'm looking to make the Michigan a constitutional carry state, if possible. And I'm looking forward to being your next state senator up here. I'll make sure that the UP doesn't stand for unnoticed peninsula. I'll make sure you stay the Upper Peninsula, because I hear that a lot from people saying, don't forget about us up here. And which reminds me, Line 5, I'm totally in favor of a tunnel. And I don't know why hasn't been done. Well, kind of know why, but it should have been done already. So because that's important to everybody, obviously to the environment, but more importantly to you folks up here in the UP, that you need to have your heat on. And without Line 5, that's going to be a little difficult. So my website's votehindle.com, and I look forward to serving you folks. Come August 2nd is the primary, so please get out and vote for myself, William Hindle. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hindle. Thanks for coming to the Sioux. Must be something in the water in Charlevoix, because I think, isn't that where the other 107th candidates were from, too? So.
Yeah, state reps.
Yeah. All right, is there anybody else in the audience that would like to make any comments at this time? If you could state your name and...
Marta Lalone from the Sioux. I just have a quick question.
Sure, Marta.
On an agenda item. I didn't say anything.
Okay.
Can we view Special Orders Viz E number 3, that International Property Maintenance Code, is that in the full agenda packet? So if I go online, I can read that?
Yes, ma'am, sure is.
Okay.
Yep,
And then we're going to talk about it again next meeting?
correct.
Thank you.
Yep. If you have any questions, the guy in the beard in the corner is an expert in all things planning. Kelly Freeman, our planning director, is. Marta, if you have any questions to Kelly Freeman, is planning director, back in the corner. You can call him. So, yes, sir.
Yeah, hi. My name's George Crow, and I had a letter from the city about vehicles in my yard and stuff, and I have no problem paying it, but there's more vehicles than what was there, and I was trying to find out about it, and I couldn't get no information. And then today, when I got a hold of one person, they told me that they weren't the one in charge, it was another guy. Well, when I got a hold of that guy, he said, no, it's the other one. So these two are just passing the buck back and forth of who's responsible. And, I'd like to know, who do I talk to about this? I'm having a problem with one of your employees, and nobody is doing nothing about it. And now it's gotten to the point where I believe it's gone beyond, it was a work issue. And now I believe this individual employee is bringing it to a personal issue with my home front. So now I've got a problem with it. And I've been told by one of the people within the city that this individual will back off and go away. Then I find out today he's been by my house taking pictures. That's not backing off. That's doing just the opposite. I've been really nice about all of it so far. And when I found out today that the guy's been taking pictures and stuff of my house and stuff, he crossed the line. Well, what do I do about it now?
You can get a hold of me tomorrow. The employees report directly to me and not the commission.
You didn't do nothing about it last time.
I don't recall,
That's why I'm not talking to you.
I don't recall discussing this issue with you.
I talked to you and you wouldn't even give me my call back or anything. So that's why I'm asking, what do I do?
The first step would be to talk to the city manager. If you can arrange a meeting, I mean, he's indicated here that he's more than happy to talk to you and sit down and discuss the issue.
Because right now, at this particular point, I've sought legal representation about this.
I'm sure.
It's gotten to that point.
Okay.
What do I do? You know, I tried to be nice, I tried to do everything properly, but when you got two higher officials wanting to pass the buck back and forth and nobody taking responsibility, and in the meanwhile, the employees doing whatever he wants, however he wants, he don't care what any of you got to say. You ain't his boss, he does what he wants.
Well, the city manager is responsible for the entire operation of the city, so as he indicated, he'd be glad to talk to you about this issue. And if you don't get any resolution there, if you feel that the legal system is the path to take, then certainly that's your prerogative.
Well, you know, I tried being really nice about it. I tried being very polite. I tried talking back and forth. I tried doing multiple things. You know, and the employee's just pushing the issue. And his supervisor can't do nothing, and none of you guys can do nothing. That leaves me no alternative.
I think if you'd sit down with the city manager, I think you'd be well served.
Mr. Chapman didn't call me back.
Well, I guarantee you he'll call you back.
When?
If you give him his number, probably tomorrow.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
okay?
Okay.
All right. Thank you, sir. Anybody else in the audience that would like to make any comments at this time? All right, seeing none, we'll move into item J, which is matters presented by the city commission. Any commissioners? Commissioner Torrey.
Sure. Just wanted to say Happy Mother's Day to all of the mothers out there. In fact, our very new mother here on our commission, and maybe a grandmother that might be having a grandbaby coming up here too. So Happy Mother's Day, everyone.
Thanks, Commissioner. Commissioner Boss's Wrath.
I was just gonna say Happy Mother's Day to all those mothers out there, and the new mothers. I feel you, and nighttime is long, so Happy Mother's Day.
Do you want us to extend these meetings so you have a little more quiet time?
My mother is probably watching, and wondering who's watching the baby.
Anybody else? Commissioner Bauer?
Yes, coming up on Thursday, there is an event that's been happening in Sault Ste. Marie for about the past handful of years. It's called 100 Plus Women with a Heart, and the premise of this event is that women who would like to make a difference get together in a social setting. They each donate $100, and the goal is to raise $10,000 that they will then vote on a charity to donate that money to. Last year, it was the Children's Museum down there on Portage Avenue. So the event this year happens to be being held at Sioux Brewing Company in 1668 Winery with Nikki McKechnie, who I think founded the event 5 years ago, and my own wife, Joan Bauer. So any women who would like to make a difference in that way, we hope to see you out there on Thursday evening.
Sounds like a great event. Thank you, I know there's a DDA event on Wednesday, and I wish I knew the specifics of it, but city manager can look it up real quick.
Oh, and Tony's not here. There's
No.
a spring fling, I think it's this Thursday.
Wednesday? Oh, it's also Thursday?
Hold on, let me pull my calendar
No,
up.
it is not, it's Wednesday.
Wednesday. Sorry to put you on the spot, I totally forgot about it.
It's okay, I just turned off my computer too, so not a big deal. So the spring fling, yeah, downtown spring fling is this Wednesday at 5 p.m. at 313 Ashman.
All right, so it'll be a busy week. Anybody else have anything? Commissioner Twardy.
Move to adjourn.
Support.
Been moved to adjourn this meeting. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye.